Well, welcome to Sunday night with Kazaki Flyer 55. I'm in a little bit better headspace than I was last week. I wish things were going a little bit better outside. They say comets are portents of ill luck. Well, I can agree with that. Nothing really bad has gone on with me, but it just seems I just can't get ahead in my life. Every time I think I'm feeling better and healing up better, I just don't make it. Well, enough about me. Welcome to Peenemünde, up in northern Germany in Pomerania. We're in a place where the sound of rockets once roared and scientists struggled with the very edge of space. But tonight, it's a departure point as we take our beloved butcher bird back to one of its new homes. We're taking our yellow 6 back to where yellow 4 actually lives. There are only, I think, 2 flying Focke-Wulf 190A's A-series aircraft in the world at this time. One of them is in New York, in New England, and here in the United States, and the other is here in Germany. And that's where our first stop. It's a place called Hangar 10, and it is at EDAH. I think it's AH. Double check the map. Yeah, Echo Delta Alpha Hotel is where the museum that has rebuilt their they built an A5. They didn't have an original BMW 805 radial engine to put into it. I think they used a Russian substitute engine in its place. But that's okay. It sounds good, and it runs good, and it looks right. And more importantly, it flies. That's the most important thing that I care about, is it flies. That's part of the evolution and life of an airframe. If you don't get a couple of new engines over your lifetime, you're doing something wrong. Well, let's get jumping into the cockpit here. Boom. And we'll see if we can't actually start this aircraft up. Now, this little aircraft, believe it or not, I actually think it's easier to start than the Messerschmitt 109. Of course, this is 5 years later than the BF 109, and this is a more electrical aircraft. Speaking of the electrics, we need to turn those on. So we can open up that, and we need to push in all of these circuit breakers. There's the generator. This last one is the battery. We'll hold off on that just a second while we turn on the rest of our circuit breakers. Yes, all of them. Okay, that's got our circuit breakers on. Now we need to turn our fuel pumps on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this last switch is for them to hook up the external power so that you don't drain your own battery. We'll go ahead and connect that. And if we look outside, there's the power cart. And it's plugged into us. Okay, from here we're going to go turn on our own battery. You can hear our fuel pumps starting to run. Okay, over on this side, what we need to do is this goes all the way up till it can't go up any further. That tells it to select the rear fuselage tank and all other tanks. See, let's get our tablet out for just a second. Check our loadout and fuel. Fuel it up, please. We have a total of 939 liters. Okay, put you away for now. Okay, that's up and on. Maybe we want to advance our throttles just a little bit to the start position. Okay, that's done. Okay, next, let's primer. That's this big yellow switch here. You want to prime it until it slows down, which indicates that it's primed enough. There, it's getting stiff and not wanting to plunge. Okay, that tells us we're primed. And meanwhile, back over here, we want to go ahead and cut our oxygen on. Keep the canopy open for the moment. Oxygen on and flowing. That's what this means here. Okay, that's good. I'll agree with you, Colonel Fork. It is a better designed and laid out cockpit. Half the instruments, I think, on the 109 were an afterthought. Okay, let's release the safety catch. Hold the primer lever down. You need to hold it down for about 25 or so seconds while it spins up the flywheel. And here it's starting to whine. Oh, I know something I forgot. She won't start yet. My magnetos. There, both magnetos on. Now, let's do that again. Oh, silly. Rewind. I'll hit her again. Yes, I use the settings on the tablet to translate most of the panel into English. Hey, she's about spun up as good as she's going to get. Release and pull. And try to figure out, let's see, what am I forgetting here? Menus on. Props to Rich. Pedal to start. Hello, Viper Strike. Welcome aboard. We're taking a museum piece to its home. Let's try this again. And don't mind the foot pedal twitching. That's it's getting an input from my rudder pedals. One of the springs is not where it should be. Okay, I'm forgetting something here. Let's see. We've got power, spark, spin the fly wheel. Get my view centered right here so that we can taxi, because we need to taxi all the way up to the end of 13. Get our feet up on our rudder pedals, because that's how you steer this beastie. She's got a free castering tail wheel. Okay. Of course, once you get the engine started, the starter cart rolls away. The ground crewman disconnects you from the power. And if you look on the inside of your cockpit, down here on your circuit breakers, you'll find that the external power is the only circuit breaker that's now out. Okay, let's really have them pull the wireframe chocks out. Yeah. I hope you found the Coronado as big as I did when I saw her there. And I do love the old vibrator. It's a not politically correct nickname for it, but that's what everybody called her. There we coming a little forward here. Come on. For it being Rocket City, there are not very many towers and launch pads around here. Ooh, we've almost found the grass. 15 knots, no reason to get in a big hurry. Just keep tapping your toe brakes to steer. Okay, when I last checked, the winds were 188 at 10, so runway 13 will work. We just got a lot of taxiway to cover. Pinamon Day is actually a pretty good place to test things like aircraft, rockets, and other things that might have bad accidental endings. Okay, we're here. Let's look at our taxiway chart. Straight ahead on Alpha and all the way to 13. Okay, good. So we're following the right path here. I got my 2 terabyte new SSD plugged in. It's an external drive. It's plugged in, formatted, and waiting for the only program that'll ever live on it. MSFS 2024. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I can't help it either. It does look good. Everything everybody's been showing off for it looks great. A lot of the questions I have about it are still unanswered, but just for the solo opportunities alone, it looks like a winner. Now, if it can deliver all the stuff it's showing to 10 million customers, that's going to be a neat trick. Okay, when we reach the end of this straight Alpha taxiway, we'll be turned on Alpha 1, and it'll be a right-hand turn to the runway. Not as much power here. Got to make this quick, because if you can't keep your RPMs above 1300, you're not charging your battery, and it'll go flat on you. Don't ask me how I know. But if you keep your RPMs above 1300, your battery's good. Keep coming around. And yes, this is the correct paint scheme for the aircraft that lives up here in this neck of the woods. Other than the real aircraft is yellow 4, and we are yellow 6. Watch that foot tromp. Hey, there's the end of the piano keys. At least the sock agrees with us for once. And as far as the weather is live, but the time is set for, what time do we got up here? Push the wrong button there. Time. No, I know, I don't have flow yet. Every time I think about it, something else comes up. I don't get it. It is 10:20 a.m. local time. Okay, here we are. Let's look to the right, look to the left, look behind us here. Uh-oh. And we lost our sound. Which is weird because we've had it all up to here. And we'll get the sound back probably in about 20 minutes or so. See if we can turn it up. At least pick it up with the microphone. Hold the brakes. All right. Look left, look right. There we go. Let's see if we can get. Let's see if we can actually get her up in the air now. Brakes coming off. Airspeed alive. Throttle coming in. Nose coming down. Airspeed up. And up we go. Now what? You overstressed the aircraft. How on takeoff? Good grief. Stupid. No, we are not going to go through the start process. We're going to start at the end of the runway. That's about nuts. And in typical MSFS fashion, watch it hang up here. Ever since the last Windows update, nothing's run right. Come on, come on. Move. There it goes. Uh-huh. Now, because it crashed, I have to change my livery, which is stupid, but it avoids a hang-up that this thing tends to give. Uh-huh. Yes, load. Uh-huh. And yes. Runway 13, yes. Fine. Good grief. So it's at least loading. That's a small miracle in its own self. Now it's got to think about things for a couple of minutes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And time. Not 1 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:24. Right there. 21st of October. Laps 1/4. Okay. Throttle coming in. Nose coming up. Coming down. Tail coming up. Sit up in your chair. 200. Up. And fly. Yes. Thank you. Gear coming up. It does have a great gear sound. Okay, 350 kilometers an hour, which is approximately 189 knots. Let's see if we can get it up to 200 knots here. And yes, I need my good old GTN 750 for map. You don't want to go out over the ocean? Hold those flaps up. The spinners do look good. A bit of down trim. Up trim. Up. Okay, we're at least headed in the right direction. It's only 17 miles down this way. So this first part of our journey is relatively quick. And then we're booked for an air show in Danzig, or as it's in its modern name, Gdansk. Where people decided to just stop getting pushed around and decided they were going to do a little pushing back. And it's such a great idea that this little thing called freedom and then pride kind of swept over the entire region. We're under 1,000 feet. We want to try to stay there. Watch our compass. It's down there down here. Here's our compass. We're just going to try to stay about 135 or so. That's about there. And we're going to stop up here at Edom and Hangar 10. And we're going to visit the real home of one of the last Focke-Wulf 190s that fly. Now, the Focke-Wulf 190 that is in the New England area, it does have the correct engine. The guys actually found a BMW 805 and restored that too. Okay, 5 miles out. A little bit sharper turn. Let's start to slow down a little bit. Stutter. Okay, we're aimed right at the airport here. We will overfly the airport, i.e. buzz the airfield, and we'll turn around and land here. FlightSim.to does have a freeware airport for this scenery for this airport. Awesome. You can see the old paved stones that's been here for 80 years. Enter the pattern here. Start swinging around to the north. Colonel Fork up ahead of us, making his turn. So we're going to go out just a little bit more while we continue our turn. Get on our downwind here. And there's the airport over there. And we can go ahead and drop our gear if we want to. Gear coming down. Not yet, anyway. Start our left turn to enter the entering base. Flaps. Turn final. Past our turn. Lined up. Chop the throttle. And we'll just land in the grass. It's what they were made for. Matter of fact, the Germans actually built in a more robust landing gear than they really needed into this aircraft. But yeah, this air base is the home for the one of the few that fly. As flying pieces of history, if that's reason enough for them to be preserved. But the fact that they are excellent and marvelous pieces of engineering is even more magnificent and reason enough to be preserved. Taxi down this 80-year-old patch of concrete. If you build to last. Get off the dirt and get on the taxi lane, buddy. Actually taxiing our way up toward the museum at this time, where we're going to top off our tanks. That looks like the Hangar 10 building. Some of the flight school aircraft. Oh, great. A fence within a fence. Oh, an AM2. That's still being used as an airliner around here. I'm going to taxi up here all the way to the concourse, the tower here. Don't have much, but it's enough. Hello, Mr. Fuel Truck. All right. Let's go over here and snuggle up to the fuel truck a second. A little bit closer, please. The hose might not reach this far. Man, Give me gas. Best way to get gas for this aircraft is to use the tab. Okay, we're gonna have to shut our aircraft off for just a second. Easiest way to do that is to cut the electrics, turn the magnetos off. And we're going to take a total load of 824 liters. Stow that. Turn the magnetos back on. Goes without saying, no smoking. Start our flywheel up. All right. Get her nose out of the cockpit here. Turn her around here. Ooh, don't just missed the truck. And now it's 155 miles to Danzig. We'll be crossing the border. And because this is the EU and we have a car, we don't need to do much. We do not need to fill customs out, nor do we need to declare anything. But excuse us, we're here for the air show. Wind check. 177 at 10 knots. So we're still on the right runway. Hasn't changed on us yet. Look left, look right. Look left, look right. And let's see if we can get on our way to Danzig here. Onto the runway proper. Tail up. Add power. Right down the runway. 200 knots. Kilometers per hour. And airborne we go. Okay, approximately 75 degrees onto Danzig. And up the flaps. Flaps up. We'll be making a landing at Lech Walesa Airport. There was a time in the or early to mid 90s when you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing Lech Walesa on your news. There were times I wished he'd been an American citizen and could have run for office here. We don't need full power. We can cut that back to so there's 250 in knots indicated. Old English. That's approximately 450 kilometers an hour. Trying to trim her up here. Check out another one of these coastal towns. Looks like on any coastal town here in the States. Lots of cranes and hotels and resorts. And somewhere up here we'll be passing out of Germany and into northern Poland. And she's being a little bit difficult to trim. Not too bad though. If we're actually having a trim wheel would be nice instead of a button. Am I kidding? I don't have the hand to spare for the trim wheel. I barely got enough one hand to control the stick. Asking for controls for two hands. Here, pushing your limit. Stick, throttle, and trim wheel. That's a bit much. Let's get back on course here. This is a land of too many ghosts. That's for sure. And I've been places where the ghosts walk and you were glad to be bundled up in your tent at night. And about 214 knots. That's pretty good. We'll hold that. That's a pretty little sailboat. Right at the river mouth here. Good place to dock a boat. Lots of pretty farmland, though. But it's so flat. I guess it explains why it's been such a contested over piece of property for so many years. Now, if we can stay out of the power lines, we should be good to go all the way to our air show. Because the Polish, like their American brethren, love a good air show. Put some power back in. Starting to, that's 350 kilometers an hour. We want to come back up to 400. Lots of moo cows. If their farmers are anything like our farmers, these guys get up from and work from dawn till dusk and are lucky to get a small break every now and then in the middle of the day. And if they get a chance to cut their tractors off, it's a miracle. And carbon cubs everywhere. Yay! Not everybody cares to fly the old warbirds. That's what makes this such a great hobby. There's something for everybody. Approximately 75 degrees, please. And do not hit the wind turbines. Have to pass between them if we can. We're low enough to get swatted if we're not careful. There's a river. Oh, that's terrible, Kapustik. Although, don't wor don't worry too much about it. Before my stream tonight, I had to stop 4 different times before I finally got a good start. At least one I could stream with. And if you'll look at the aircraft, it's still not the aircraft I wanted. I wanted the correct paint scheme for tonight. But the last 3 or 4 updates that they've put in have introduced a bug into my system that if you try to use the same livery twice to start, it'll hang up about a quarter of the way through the load process and stop responding. So I have to switch liveries between flights. Well, you're more than welcome. I think there's a couple of airports up here before we get to Gdansk. Yep. Kolobrig, Darlowo, EPDA. So we've crossed into Poland. We have crossed the border now. Come on, stay flying. And Echo Papa Kilo Golf is where I'm headed at the moment, pointed right at it. It's up on the coast up here. Go check it out right quick. And this is if you can manage to get your stream running or get your sim started. There's no telling what we've put in that might be causing a problem. I've been lucky the last few times, ever since I've loaded the duck and the storage. Both of them, neither one of them have caused any problems. I saw your B2 pictures. They looked great. Colonel Fork, did you go out and look at the comet? My apartment is totally surrounded by trees. I would have to walk about 3/4 of a mile to actually get to a place where I could see the southwest sky and look for the comet. And the way I walk, no, not going to happen. And I'm not going to push a wheelchair that far. Okay. Here we are at this town. Yeah. Too much rudder, buddy. Yeah, this is Echo Papa Kilo Golf. Should be just past the city up here. Right along the Baltic Sea. I think I can see it from here. We've even had a couple of nights last week that you could see the northern lights even from our town. That's only the second time I think this century that anybody has been able to see the northern lights this far south. Now there's Farmer Brown's field. And there's the airport ahead of us. Now, our local Renaissance Fair had their annual Renaissance Feast last night. And I kind of nagged one of our photographer friends to try to get entrance to our feast hall, and which is something we build up every year. It's actually a local coliseum that we decorate to look like a baronial hall. I kind of begged one of our local photographers to kind of take a step outside, get a quick shot with the comet and the entrance to the feast hall in the same picture. The medieval people were very, very frightened of comets. My response to comets is, oh no, not again. The next thing will be a bowl of petunias. Now that's some weird looking photogrammetry in the ground there. We've got wind turbines, their image, and their shadows. So let's cruise up the Polish coast here. Next airport on our little flight here is Echo Papa Delta Alpha. Okay, I don't want to drive a rally down that road. Nope. One, it goes right through the middle of town, and two, it looks a bit narrow. What's this? And here we go, hanging up again. And thank you, Got Friends, for costume accurate pilots for these aircraft. Although I do wish for the Wildcat they'd given us at least one guy in plain khakis or khaki shorts and just a leather or a Mae West life preserver, because those guys got hot. I haven't used the default. I've just been selected to the Got Friends guys. Although I do gotta admit, the Luftwaffe jackets were sharp. Those black leather coats, those were sharp. I think, well, my motorcycle jacket looked like one. That's why I wore it for years, was because it looked like a Luftwaffe jacket. Okay, it's off to our north, 13 miles. EPDA. Light up the EDAH. What's nice is she manages her fuel herself for the most part. The only time you have to worry about is when you switch from the rear tank to the forward tank. You got to be pretty specific about when you switch and how you switch. Otherwise, you'll kill your engine. If you're as low as I am right now, it's a death sentence. You want a couple of 1,000 feet to be able to restart. Because if you don't get that flick right the first time, you'll kill the engine for sure. Ah, my sound's back. Good. You can kill off the sound in the speakers. There we go. I do love, they do got a good sound for this aircraft. Flying Iron knows what they're doing. I don't know where they're going, whether they're actually going to the air museums and recording the sounds, or just guessing with generic Warbird Type 1. This one sounds properly beefy. Well, Kapustik, do you need that Pimax play to run your MSFS? You can always go to your toolbar and shut it off and keep it from running in the background, and turn it back on when after you run your MSFS. That's it. More turbines. Okay, these guys went in for wind turbines in a big way. Then again, this whole country bootstrapped itself back into the oh, is it too late to ask for and get your money back? Because if a program doesn't work the way it's intended, the right off the bat, unless they have a written verbal agreement that says we're going to fix this, and we know exactly what's wrong and we can fix it right quick, then the odds are pretty good they're just being a politician and blowing smoke. And those orifices don't smoke. I'll bet you it is. Any kind of VR program is probably gorgeous. I have a hard enough time flying in 2D, let alone getting airsick and trying to do this in 3D. Now, where are we in relation to our target town? Since it's not on our flight list. Oh, we've passed it. We're on our way to Slupsk, which doesn't have a runway. The next airport on our list as we closer to Lech Walesa Field is Echo Papa Charlie Echo. Yeah, I can understand that. My problem with using track IR is I can't slow it down enough. It is so sensitive to any kind of head movement that I can't push buttons when I want to, because every time I try to focus on a button, it moves. And I've tried it a couple of times, even here on my streams, and I'm just not a big fan of the track IR. When it's working, it's a great thing, but it's great for Cessnas and the Storch and other small, very slow aircraft. But if you're flying a performance aircraft like a fighter or a jet or something, you need precision. And my track IR doesn't give me that precision. Ooh, a patch of sunshine. We're outrunning the weather. Power lines below us. Stay out of those. Can hear the choral ah as we pass through the sunlight and jump back into the shadows. Now, I don't know if they hunt dove in Poland, but or that there spot looked like a beautiful dove field. What else would you expect a shrike to do than hunt dove? Is this a road or a railroad? Nope, it's a highway. Well, highways go places. Follow the road. It always knows. And one thing that's good about roads is they'll generally take you to someplace interesting. This road's a lot like a lot of the roads around here. Goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes without much notice. There's Kapustik. Oh my goodness, a hill. Imagine that. It's probably the highest spot in this part of Poland. Oh, at least it's a well-defined grass field. They've even got a little bitty runway for if you've got a storch. I do love playing around with that storch at low speeds. When you can land at 25 miles an hour, that's pretty good. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, now you've at least got some kind of clue. Now it's a case of, well, now try it again without it. Good old scientific experimentation. Frustrating, but it's the only way to find out. And I want my view centered for landing. Well, Private, we're not lost. We're over Poland. Okay. That actually was an airport back there. It was just so small it didn't appear on my chart. EPCE is up here approximately 17 miles ahead of us. My airplane doesn't decide to take a dirt nap. Oh, woof. Now those are some open fields. Wow. Uh-oh. Don't hiccup my sound again, please. Just because I don't have any DACA in this one doesn't mean it ain't there. And I don't want to lose the rumble of this nice radial engine. And I can do something that's normally not wise. Let's see. Autopilot, check. AP on, and level. Just want you to fly straight ahead while I dig for something here. Now there's something I like to see, the traffic lights on. dive. Back, 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 off. Yeah, at least the terrain is starting to pick up a little bit more interesting features. It's getting hillier. I wouldn't call these mountains, but they're definitely hills. Okay, we are south of EPCE. That's it. It's up that way. And you'll have to excuse me. I'm just enjoying enjoying the visuals of sightseeing around here. This is some pretty country. Yep, I see a BF 109 back there. And we are getting closer and closer to civilization because I'm seeing more and more suburbs. Suburbs, small villages, just people living together. But still a lot of fields. We go over a ridge line here. Like to be out on that lake in a rowboat, but not about this time of year. I think it'd be a little bit cool. Ooh, look at that little pond. Talk about scenic. Look at that. Little pond, little lake down nestled in a little valley here. Oh, that's gorgeous. Talk about a high value piece of property. Oh, the river. The river dumps into a lake here. I can hear a Damier Benz. Okay, we are 13 miles from our airfield. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. And Colonel Fork flies so good. Only person I think that's better that flies with me on stream is Kapustik. They're awesome. I see the runway lights at Lech Walesa Airfield. Well, I hope it's not too late for you to get your money back on that one, Kapustik. The only crystal light I ever want to deal with is drink mix. And then only if I can't get tea or a diet drink. There's Lech Walesa Field. How close are we to the harbor? Because that's where the real action was. Okay, it's north of us. Oh, that's not fair. Gdansk is kind of spread out. Yeah, I see a smokestack at least, or a very tall building. It's not the tower. More and more industrialization as we get closer to the airport here. And still large plots of open ground for farms. And they did a pretty good job with the satellite imagery up here. It may not be photogrammetry, but it's really nice with all the computer-generated buildings. Well, there's Lech Walesa Airport. This is where our air show is supposed to be. Well, they got a short, stumpy little tower, don't they? Bet you those guys stay busy. Well, plenty of parking available here. They could really pack in an air show. Okay, this is up on a kind of plateau, it looks like. The city of Gdansk is down there. Lots of smokestacks. Ah, there's Kapustik. You made it. Yay! Well, welcome to Gdansk in Poland. Home of the Solidarity Movement. a builder of ships and literally home of history. No, I am not at max throttle. Let's see. Let's cheat and add some fuel if we can here. Fuel. Almost exhausted my drop tank. I'll refill that. And let the the aircraft computer do that. Now let's gun this puppy. So we go down here and fly around the the oil refinery, around the torch and back again. There's 300 knots indicated. Almost 500 kilometers an hour, a little bit past, almost 550. Okay, there's our turn marker. Bend her around in a turn. See if we get our winglet vortices. Yeah, that's one thing I do like about this is you can actually get up to 300 knots in this aircraft in a level flight. Going around the plants here in the shipyards. Well, if you need to test your formation flying, let me look at the map here and see what's close beside Gdansk. See, there's Lech Walesa. Okay, if you can find EPSY 100 nautical miles on a heading of 116. Let's see, let's bring her around. I'll slow down to about 210 or 220 or so. Kapustik, you are not disrupting our stream. We were pretty much at the end of this flight anyway. So if you want to test your aircraft and test your flying ability, let's do it. We'll carry on here. Let's see, 116 degrees, huh? Just the heading bug the other way. 116. 17 now. There's a military air base up here. And I'm slowing down to Oh, she's got fine control. You will not be disappointed. Flying Iron said this was their best yet. They weren't kidding. The only thing you have to worry about is the throttle. You can put it on the manual pitch control, but that defeats the purpose of the whole design. There's 220 knots indicated, 400 kilometers per hour. About right there. She's pulling about 2,000 RPM at the moment. They give you the gauge even if you're not monkeying with the switch, with the controls every 5 minutes. There's 190 knots. And right at 300 feet off the ground. Barometer adjustment. Because we have changed, there we have crossed over the front, it looks like. My barometric altimeter was showing actually lower than the AGL. Yeah, that's the proper paint job for the air show we're doing. And Kapustik has the yellow 6. And I don't know why they didn't just give it the proper yellow 4. That's the aircraft in the museum. And it does sound good. This is actually the pretty close sound to the one in the YouTube videos that came out a couple of years ago. You want to stay away from the fly swatters here. Since we are in their reach. And oh, terrific. More of them. Man, this is some beautiful countryside. I grew up on a farm, so I know what good farmland looks like. I like this. I just hope you're really enjoying this aircraft as much as I do, Kapustik. I've literally been in love with this since we got it. I just hope their idea of the military air base up here isn't three white spots in the middle of a farmer's field. It's, buddy, you can't land an F-16 there. Land one of these things maybe, but not an F-16. Oh, great, I'm picking up somebody's ILS. Who's close? Ah, it's off to our right. Going the wrong way. Elements break. Dip into the right. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a great shot, Kapustik. Absolutely gorgeous. And there's the military airfield. Okay. Overflying the field. Okay, now this bunch is going to get an air show. Hope it's not too late to sell tickets. You can tell this is a MiG-9. This used to be a MiG-19 base. That's for sure. There's the hot stands. Ooh, woof. Oh, yeah, they extend out here a ways too, don't they? There, my needles have just gone nuts. Coming out over town. See if we can get the gear to come down at 218 knots. Yep, gear coming down. How about a notch of flaps? Left turn, Clyde. Notch of flaps, please. One thing is, Kapustik, she does land a little hot. There's the airport. Don't cut your throttle till you're over the threshold. Try to keep your speed up to about 110, 120 until you're right on the threshold. And then chop your throttles. Full flaps. Right on the runway heading. High on the glide slope. Piano keys coming up. And chop throttles. Stay on the runway here. Do not ground loop. They're going to ground loop anyway. Whee! Don't let your engine die. Look, Ma, no hands. We can roll backwards. Made landings like that and the damn engine stall. Pull the flaps in. As we cross the airfield here. Oops, our battery is toast. Because every time we drop below 1300 RPM, the power goes off. Pardon me for using one of the old MiG stands over here. Well, hopefully, Kapustik, that give you a little bit of fun in the Focke-Wulf 190. I thought the flight was wonderful. I got to see some great scenery, got some great formation flight, some absolutely stunning images. Hey, Doofus, we're over here. Helps if you face the right way. Say, chalk the tires. Feels chalked. Jump in the cockpit. Open the windows. Now, can we turn on the ground power here? No, not till the battery or the engine is toast. I just like listening to it purr. It is a pretty cat. You can see right here, you've got your landing gear indicators right here on the wings to let a pilot know that his landing gear are down and locked. The red part is down, the white part is locked. And another fine product from Focke-Wulf, the 200 Condor. Which is great if you're hunting PQ-17. This is your aircraft right there, folks. And it's actually not that bad to fly. I find it's the equal at least of the it's not the in-depth quality of the DC-6, but it'll keep up with the DC-6. It's a much more simplified flight model. There's nothing wrong with that. The DC-6 can be overwhelming sometimes, depending on what you're trying to do. And Colonel Fork showed me this. Well, indirectly, he didn't show it to me on his stream or anything, or even Two-Tone Murphy didn't show it to me. But let's see, get in the cockpit here. Okay, you see these red switches? one where it says center, if you pull on the center one, excuse me, it'll make your belly tank disappear. Doesn't remove the weight, but it'll definitely make it visually disappear. Let's see, if I drop mine, will yours disappear? Yep, made yours disappear too. I'll jump back in the cockpit here. There's several ways to kill the engine. My favorite is just cut the electrical power, cut the magnetos off, and that'll stop the engine. Which is a good thing, because from here on I would definitely need the starter cart to get her started again. Because my battery is toast. Well, I'd like to thank Kapustik and Colonel Fort for joining me on a air show ride tonight and a tour over some beautiful Polish farmland. Man, this is some pretty country. I can't wait to... This is someplace I want to visit again in 2024. Because this is gorgeous country. And all those fields look so tempting to land in. And she lands fast, but she stops short. So that's pleasant. See, click that off now that the battery's dead. Let's see. Get everybody in the shot. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Picture, please. Say smile for the birdie. Take the picture. Move the camera around and take another picture. That's gorgeous. Oh, like I said, thank you. I don't have a, it's not grapes. I don't have a stream bot or anything like that, so we don't have any way to give you any info except the fact that we're at the end of our stream tonight, and we hope everybody had a good time up here in Poland. We recommend you explore this part of the countryside more, and we'll hope you'll see you next Sunday. In the meantime, I'm just gonna ease my way out of here, reach over and push some buttons, and we will see y'all next week. Thank you. You really, y'all really cheered me up. Kapustik, the smile on my face is pretty darn incredible. Thank you. Let's see if we can do this right. Let's see if we can find to read people. Who was on? There were some goodly people on earlier. Raid channel. Lots of leftovers from across the pond yesterday. And Vatsim even got a big shout out this morning by Jerry Jerry Doyle on Big Jet TV. Well, I can't find anybody in my list to raid, so we're just going to skip that part of it and just say a goodnight to everybody.